will be facilitating this webinar. In order for you to view and hear this webinar, you must call in as well as log on through the internet. If you are only listening, we also have the attached handouts for the webinar on our website at www.va-itsnetwork.org. In order to ensure that everyone can hear this webinar, your line has been muted. We are excited that we have an estimated of 287 of us joining us today, so we look forward to that. Throughout the webinar, there will also be opportunities for you to type in questions about what's being discussed using the chat box. If time allows, we will surely try to answer some of the questions. If you experience any technical difficulties at all at any time during this webinar, simply type in those issues in the chat box, and Lisa Klein, our technical support for today, will help you out with those. During the webinar, we will ask that you participate by answering some poll questions in that same chat box. When we get to these portions in the hour, we will inform you on how to do them. Before we begin our discussion on leadership, Lisa Green will give you a brief overview of what the Infant and Toddler Specialist Network is all about. And if you're looking on your screen right now, you see myself, Leslie Ward, Becky Tickle, and Lisa Green. So now Lisa Green will be telling you a little bit more about Virginia Infant Toddler Specialist Network.
Hi, I'm Lisa. Thanks, Leslie. The Virginia Infant and Toddler Specialist Network strives to achieve excellence in early care by increasing the education level and skills of those who care for infants and toddlers, whether it's a family care home or a center-based program. There are 15 highly qualified infant and toddler specialists that work 9 regional offices across the state. The specialists provide 3 levels of services designed to strengthen the capacity of early care and educational programs to deliver high-quality services. If you look at the ITSN regional map here on your screen, Becky, do you see it on the screen? Well, if you look at the ITSN regional map here on your screen, you'll see the locations of the 9 regions. Take a moment to see which region you're in and check on that area on the following poll. If you'd like to find out more information about the ITS services and meet your region's infant and toddler specialists, please visit our website, www.va/itsnetwork.org. Okay, so here we see a lot of peninsula, a lot in the eastern area. Welcome. Still having some more people poll in. I see no one in my region. We're glad to have you.
Quickly, I'm going to go over today's objectives. Throughout the hour, we will understand the difference between management and leadership, build leadership skills in themselves and in others, and look at ways to practice encouraging leadership with your infant and toddler staff. The agenda, I will start off by sharing some insight out of the classroom and into the director's office. Many of us have been classroom staff, teachers as well, and been transitioned into the director's position, and that can be somewhat challenging at times. We'll also look at characteristics of admired leaders and encouraging your infant and toddler staff. We have a poll should be on your screen now, just to give us an idea of who all is joining us today. What is your role? Are you a director, an infant caregiver, a toddler caregiver, or a consultant? So if you take a moment, we'd love to get your feedback on that. Okay, wow, look, it looks like the majority of us participating today are directors with a good mix of infant and toddler caregivers as well as consultants. So we'll have a good mix participating with us today. As I stated before, you have this new position. You're out of the classroom. You're no longer the teacher in the classroom, and you're now in the director's office. So oftentimes you may ask yourself, now what? It can be a tricky transition. You're in a leadership role now, and what are some effective strategies that can lead to success, not only for you, but for your staff and for your program as a whole? You'll see questions the directors can ask themselves. I'm not going to read all of them, and those of you who are joining us by audio, remember, if you visit our website, you also see the attachments that you can go back and reflect upon. But some of the questions that directors could ask themselves, starting with, do I listen to my staff? Do I provide constructive observations in areas that my staff need to grow or improve? Do I share appropriate and needed information with my staff? Do I know my staff's professional goals? These are just some things that you can really reflect upon and focus on to ensure that you are on the same page with your staff. Child Care Center directors, as you know, assist staff with caring and teaching children. They also have the responsibility of supervising, leading the staff, overseeing daily activities, designing curriculum, and preparing the budgets. As a director, you're responsible for all aspects of the program, and as I said before, it can certainly be a lot. Some other common duties that fall upon the director position: supervising staff, providing and scheduling a training and professional development opportunities for your staff. Not only are you responsible for arranging those opportunities, but also knowing the direction in which your staff want to progress in. Some may want to, promote, to another position within the center. Some, want to stay in the position that they're at. So it's important in the leadership role that you know what their intent is as well. You also have to establish policies and communicate them to staff and parents so that you're all on the same page. Ensuring instructional excellence, assisting staff in resolving conflict, all are other responsibilities that fall on the director. All of these can be extremely complex to balance when you are now the supervisor of the staff who you've previously worked in the classroom with. It may be hard sometimes for someone that you have had a personal friendship with to now respond to you in a leadership role. So really knowing how to balance that over the next hour, we will hopefully give you some strategies of how to be a positive, successful leader. Really knowing how to positively interact with your staff to ensure excellence at your center is beneficial to all. If you want your child care centers to be successful, it starts with you. You are the director, and you're in the leadership role in your center. If you feel that enrollment has slowed or your staff morale is low, consider the following. Number one, set the example. Remember, a successful center begins with you. Be careful not to exclusively affix failure or stagnation to your team's performance. It could be any of us. We have to look at this as a group effort. Your actions elevate or erode your credibility, which helps or hurts their respect. It's all about building relationships and keeping them positive. A great place to start might be to write a list of traits and behaviors that you expect of your staff, then humbly reflect whether or not you exemplify these yourself. Communication values. It's hard to know which direction in which to lead your team. If you don't have a vision of what you're working towards, that makes it very difficult. So take a few minutes. Imagine what a perfect workday looks like for your program. Once you envision it in your mind, make notes and communicate that vision to your staff. That could simply be communicated at a staff meeting that you have. Remember that they can't read your mind any more than you can read theirs. Recognize, reward, and unite. When your employees do something awesome, let them know. Recognizing and rewarding excellence can be a great motivator of the entire team. And uniting the team through a fun activity can assist in a bonding experience for everyone. Embrace change. Well, let's be honest, we have to face it. This can be a tough one. Change can be beneficial, but also hard and a bit uncomfortable. Maybe some of your staff have a hard time with change. Maybe you do. Keep in mind that there isn't progress without change. Expect growing pains and leave room for mistakes too. None of us are perfect, but the team can learn to embrace the changes that create success. Coaching and mentoring and disciplinary. Sometimes you and your staff's best doesn't come easily without effort. It can be a breakdown in communication or the example that is being set. Other times it's just rule breaking. So unfortunately, with even our best efforts, sometimes there do need to be disciplinary actions. Leading us right up to my final thought, which consists of policies and procedures. State licensing requires that your center has policies and procedures. Not only do they help ensure you meet regulatory standards, but they also help establish rules that your staff is expected to follow. Communication with an employee in question can help you determine what's going on. Coaching and mentoring and/or disciplinary action can help you resolve an individual issue that impacts the whole team. Now you'll be hearing from infant and toddler specialist Lisa. Lisa, are you there?
I am, Leslie. Thank you. I wanted to share with the audience that I'm taking most of my information from the Leadership Challenge. It's a book by James Coos and Barry Posner. It's in its 6th edition, and you'll see where I'm coming from. This organization set up a study, and they asked thousands of businesses and government executives to respond to what people looked for in a leader. And if you'll think about this talk that I'm giving, I'd like for you to think about your leadership being more like a relationship, and of course it is a relationship. And so we're going to just be talking about these traits, and hopefully you'll see the traits that I'm talking about in some of your great leaders. And hopefully if you are a leader, you'll be able to benefit from this discussion. And at the very end of my talk, I have a wonderful leader, one of my favorite leaders, and he's going to be sharing his thoughts about what it takes to be a good leader. But back to the Leadership Challenge and the survey. As you can see in the slide, the answer's there. The number one trait that people would like to see in a leader is honesty. There's synonyms for honesty, integrity, and being authentic, but honesty is the basis of trust that you have to believe that what the leader speaks or knows is true. Honesty is the basis of trust, again, and it is the most important quality, I believe, in a relationship or in a trait of a boss or leader. The second slide shows you characteristics of admired leaders, and this particular trait is competence. Competence is the ability to see things and get things done. Now, the track record of the leader inspires confidence. A leader isn't expected to be an expert in everything, because if they were, why would they need followers? However, a leader is expected to have competent understanding of the organization and be able to recruit and ask instructive and insightful questions to those experts in the field. The broader their experience, the more likely it is that they can be successful across industries and organizations. I have a quote here from a local government analysis, and she expresses her experiences. She says, "I become a better follower because I have confidence that my leader knows what she is talking about and asking us to do." The third attitude that people expect from leaders is inspiration. People expect their leaders to be excited and passionate about their work. People feel that leaders who are compassionate fuel the fire of work productivity. Leaders are always looking forward and have a vision. And vision is the unique ability to see the future, to see what people can actually do, what a business can do. If you think about just a second Martin Luther King's speech, we all know what a great leader Martin Luther King was, and he spoke about the meaning, and he connected his message to the audience values and their passions. People expect leaders to have a direction about the future, and Sarah Holden, a first-year attorney, said that if leaders want to rely on others to assist them, the leader needs to tell them where they are going and get everyone heading in the same direction. The more unique the vision, the higher probability of success. And finally, admired leaders will enlist others. One of those techniques is to appeal to common ideals. Great leaders know that greatness requires a team effort. Again, this is the relationship building. So when the leader makes connections to the staff's interests and their concerns and visions, he's motivating them. The staff feels like they belong, and they see how their work connects to a bigger purpose. The leader is motivating others to see and feel how their interests and inspirations align with the company's vision. Up on the screen, you'll see a poll question. It says, which of the following do you believe are important traits of a good leader? Let's see if it comes across to be the same as my book that I chose. Looks like all the above is the majority. Good role model of behavior, definitely. Inspires others to be their best. Sincerity. Looks good. Looks good. Now what I promised you is we're going to be hearing from my leader. And this is Travis Stanton, and he is in charge of the United Way in the Western region. Here we go, Empowering Your Team by Travis Stanton.
It does take a team to get things done. And effective leadership is the most critical component of that teamwork in the organizing and direction of the chaos, because I'm sure in every work environment there is chaos, and being able to set the direction, motivate others, and then really empower them to be a part of that team and that effort is one of the most things that I see in successful organizations, is having good leadership. You really got to know your employees, and you got to know what their passions are, what their interests are, all the way from what they're interested in the workplace, but also what their interests are outside of the workplace, whether it's running in marathons or even the importance of environmental stewardship and recycling at the office. Knowing each of your employees' passions and aspirations, I think, then helps you as a leader know how to best utilize their skills and talents that fit within their aspirations and what they're really striving to do. I remember when I was younger, right out of college, and had a job, and no one listened to me. I thought that I had good ideas and good ways to improve things, and I felt like no one trusted me, no one listened to me, and that I didn't know anything. And so I think by listening to your fellow coworkers and as a leader, really knowing their talents and abilities, but valuing their opinion and enabling them to give that opinion and be part of that work. I've seen a lot of leaders that, even myself, have been guilty of it before, doing it all and getting too involved, and then you're not effectively using the resources that you have at your disposal. You hire people to perform a task or a role or a responsibility, and you need to let them do that by not micromanaging them, but also empowering them to make decisions, but giving them the tools and resources to be successful. Because when they're successful, the organization's successful, the leader's successful. As a parent of four, I found myself always running around almost overprotectively, and they're going to get bruises and scratches, and that's probably the same in the workplace. They may not be physical bruises and scratches, but letting people learn on their own a little bit as well, but also being able to help them when they are in trouble. And I'd much rather someone make a mistake in an effort of trying to accomplish something than to not try. Coming from a world of nonprofit management, there's not always, let's say, resources or financial resources to reward employees for their hard work. So I think that's where, as a leader, you've got to be true and genuine in your thank yous and recognizing the hard work of others and the success. And it may be as simple as a thank you in the hallway, or a special note, or a low-cost incentive, something free that you could give them. But I think thanking employees and recognizing the hard work and their contributions to the organization is very important, and I think that helps people stay motivated to continue on with their good work, because they see that they have the feeling that it is being recognized and it is truly making a difference.
Thank you for listening and paying attention to Travis. He is wonderful. And can you believe he has 4 kids? Now I'm going to turn this over to Becky. And Becky's a wonderful ITS friend and specialist. And Becky, it's all yours.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, so there is another poll up on your screen. We'd like you to go ahead and some of you already, you jumped right on it. So how often do you hold staff meetings? I'm pretty sure it's required by the state of Virginia, so you should be having them. We're just curious. Be honest. If you're a family child care home, maybe you don't have a formal staff meeting. Give you just another second to finish taking that poll. All right, looks like most of you at least do one monthly, so that's good. That's a good amount to do that. I don't think that, you know, there's you could do it too often. It's really important to connect with your staff. All right, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the encouraging part, because really this is kind of the main focus. We really want to connect you with ways to encourage your staff, because basically what we're trying to point out today is you're not just a manager. I know that many of you probably feel that way because that's your day-to-day. You are struggling to, you know, take care of those day-to-day tasks like making out a schedule, giving everyone lunch breaks, and so much of your day gets consumed in that portion of your job. So what we're really looking at is taking you from that mindset of just being that manager, and we really hope that you can focus on looking toward being more of a leader to your staff and how much more you can gain by becoming that leader as well. So leaders definitely motivate people to strive for the greater good. I think when you look through history and see the people that have motivated people, you know, those are true leaders, and they change, you know, a whole community and whole societies and whole countries. So it's important as a leader that you build your skills. One of the things you need to do really is take the focus off your own needs sometimes and look at the needs of the people that you serve. Look at your staff and see that, you know, you're actually meeting their needs. It's so easy to get caught up with all of our own needs, and your needs are important too, but being a true leader, focusing on the needs of your staff as well, and making sure that you're a model for others as well. Your job as a leader is to inspire that vision in others and help them to see the bigger picture, not focus so much on one little small insignificant thing, and also to challenge them to become better than just average. I think some people are so satisfied with just being status quo, just, you know, getting to whatever the average, you know, number is. They're okay with that. But as a leader, you know, you really need to push your staff to strive to go a little bit above, go a little further, become that person, and find that thing to encourage that specific person in, to push them towards becoming a better person. We also want to just remind you that you do matter to your staff. You're kind of the glue sometimes that holds it all together. So think of yourself that way, that yes, you might get grief from day to day from your staff, but ultimately you do matter to them. There's a quote. We had talked about the book, The Leadership Challenge. Lisa mentioned that. On page 330 of the Leadership Challenge, it says, "You have the potential to lead others to places they have never been. But before you can lead others, you have to believe that you can have a positive impact on others. You have to believe that what you do counts. You have to believe that your words can inspire and that your actions can move others. And you have to be able to convince others that the same is true for them." And that's no small task. That's a big thing. Like I said, many of you you're just struggling to get through the day-to-day managerial tasks that are put upon you, and maybe you have to be the cook that day. Maybe you have to step in a classroom and help out. So I know it's no small task, and I don't take that lightly. But we hope to encourage you to try harder to become that leader as well. So this slide here talks about reflecting on your strengths and weaknesses, and that's not something that we always like to do. We're happy to talk about our strengths, but when it comes to pointing out our weaknesses, that's not always popular. So it is important, though, to look at yourself and kind of, give yourself a little self-assessment, because we all have areas that we are stronger in. Everyone's different, and being able to kind of look at where your strength is and using that, but being realistic that you know where your weakness is and getting help from others in that area. Also, be willing to recognize that you may need to grow in an area. Maybe you do have an area that's weak, and it would be helpful to better yourself, to make that area stronger, so you'd be a better leader. I think one of the hardest things to take is criticism. I'm one of those people. It's not easy to take constructive criticism or just criticism in general. And that's one of the things that comes with being a leader, is you're going to have to face that people are going to criticize what you do from time to time. And we often don't like that criticism because it makes us feel like we're a failure. Accept it for what it is. It's just another person's opinion, and you can either take it and use it to better yourself, or you can, make it can hurt you, it can make your life more miserable. I would say choose to use it to better yourself. So use criticism as something to build yourself up, and accept it gracefully. It's a learning curve sometimes, being a leader. If you had a chance to look on the website, there were a bunch of handouts available. One of them, and I hope you will go back in after I talk about this, because I really think there's some beneficial resources for you as child care center directors, and even if you just work with others, these are some great tools as a leader. There's a paper that gives you the instructions for something called the Marshmallow Challenge. And this is a lot of fun. This is a great activity that you could do with your staff. I have done it with a group of directors, and they really enjoyed it. But all the instructions and materials you need are there. And it's just a great team-building experience to often kind of step back as the director and look at your employees and see how they interact with others. You may see a side of them that you never saw before while they're doing this challenge, because it's really about team building. But you can also go to YouTube and look up the Marshmallow Challenge, and there's a TED Talk. I don't know if you're familiar with TED Talks, but there is one on the Marshmallow Challenge, and he talks about how many, big corporations have used the Marshmallow Challenge with their top executives and employees, and it's incredible to see how they struggle with this challenge to work together. And he actually says that one of the funny things is they did this with kindergartners, and they actually did better working together than the adults did. So I found that very ironic. So go on our website and look for those handouts. If you click where you clicked for the webinar, you'll see the handouts are listed there as well. But you can go on YouTube and look for the TED Talk about the Marshmallow Challenge. There's also another handout there. It's called the Toothpick Activity, and this is also another one of communication, a great activity to use at a staff meeting. I think it's always nice to have, some kind of fun thing to kind of bring your staff together, and to step outside of that box. And it's a great way for you as the director to see those different traits in your staff that maybe you wouldn't always see in the classroom. All right, so we're going to move to the next slide, and I will say this is one I probably, struggle with. We all want to seem important, and being humble is no small task, but to be realistic, no one person can have all the answers. Try as you might to, know everything. It's not possible. You are just human. And being humble about that is really beneficial as a leader. You're only one person, and no one person can be everything for everybody. And I think I would probably guess that the majority of the people listening are female, and we probably struggle harder than we should with this. We think we need to be everything for everybody, and we exhaust ourselves and stress ourselves out trying to do everything for our children, for our families, and this holds true if you're a leader of a staff. You cannot be everything for everyone all the time. You will burn out very quickly. So learning to be able to step back and maybe let others take roles that they might be good at is incredibly beneficial as a leader, so that you don't burn out. But being humble that, others can have the limelight as well, and be willing to learn from and listen to others. That's so incredible. We are such a generation of, talk. And it's so important to stop talking sometimes and just listen. Have a staff meeting maybe where you allow your staff to just say things. And it can be guided. You can ask them for positive things only. But giving them a chance to say something validates them. And for you to just listen is so incredibly important, because that's something that we don't tend to do. We often are waiting our turn to talk again instead of actually listening to what people say. All right, so the next slide is seize the moment. And I absolutely love this little boy with his ice cream cone. I mean, that is just what it's all about. Enjoy the ice cream cone. Life is so much, when you kind of look back, sometimes we always think of those big moments, weddings and graduations and those humongous milestones. But, life is actually made up of little moments, day-by-day moments. And we have the opportunity every day to make an impression on people through our actions. And I think that, as a leader, what you would strive to be is that person who is able to celebrate the big moments, but also able to celebrate the day-to-day moments. And it makes such a difference for your staff when you celebrate the small things. I don't know about you, but I love getting a thank you card in the mail. Nowadays, they're kind of few and far between. We tend to, thank, via texting, and thank you cards with handwritten signatures are a thing of the past. But that's something I would encourage you as a leader to think about, purposefully thanking your staff. It only takes a minute to write a quick thank you card. You can go buy some cheap ones, or even just use a blank, card to write a quick note. Even if all you have is a Post-it note, that would be better than nothing. But writing a quick note, even if it's something simple like, thank you for staying 30 minutes over. I know that it was a long day, but I appreciate the fact that you were willing to stay 30 minutes over and you didn't complain about it. That can go a long way with your staff when you point out the things that you appreciate that they do above and beyond, or even just the simple things they do every day. It really does make a difference to your staff, and they feel so appreciated. But think about, purposing that, every month you're going to make sure that you send a little note to each one of your staff. That only takes a couple minutes to do, but it can really mean a lot to them. What I'd like you to do in the chat box is I'd love for you to start, sharing the ways that you maybe encourage your staff, because I think that you probably all have some great ways that you either reward your staff for the things they do, or, the ways that you celebrate them. And if you don't, maybe you'll see some of the things that are I'll read them out as well. But go ahead and in the chat box, just go ahead and start typing in the things that you do for your staff, the ways that you celebrate them and the ways that you encourage them, because I think it's very, very important to do these things for your staff, to show that you're a true leader. Oh, I love it. I'm seeing lots of things. Employee of the month, buy them lunch or treats. You probably all have some candy left over at your house. So I guess you can start finding a way to get rid of the candy, give it out to your staff. Oh, that's nice. Go out as a group together for dinner. I love that. Celebrating their life events. That's very nice. I mean, that's appreciated. Something small. Little gifts are wonderful. Buying lunch for them. It doesn't have to be great, humongous things or things that cost a lot of money. letting them leave 30 minutes early. I love that. I'm sure they'd enjoy that too. Letting them have a day off. Okay. A surprise breakfast. That's wonderful. I think it's more fun when they don't know it's coming. Somebody said just saying thank you. That goes a very long way, I think. Yeah, and celebrating those big milestones, years of service, celebrating their birthdays, wonderful. Oh, get their birthday off. That sounds fun. I like that one. Flowers, wonderful. I love great ideas, wonderful ideas. Keep putting them in if you don't mind. Those are wonderful ideas. I love it. All right, so my last little bit here as we start to wrap things up about encouraging your infant and toddler staff and any staff for that matter, stay in love with your work. And I think this is tough because working with children and the type of work that you all do can be draining, and it's good to just step back and refocus sometimes and remember why you started doing it in the first place. You must love your work in order to inspire others to follow you. People aren't going to follow you if they don't see that you truly love what you do. And like I said earlier, many of you may be stuck in that management role where you are just basically making it through the day-to-day chores and routine, and it's really something to move past and look at ways that you can impact your staff beyond the day-to-day, that you can help them to become better teachers, better caregivers, and better people for that matter. I think that, you know, if you can find ways throughout the day, even if it is just a thank you, you really can make such a difference with your staff and help them to, you know, move past just the status quo, just being average. When we work with programs, one of the things we really try to push is that we want them to just go a little bit better than where they're at, you know, push themselves a little bit to provide better care, do something different, to just be a little bit better. And we hope that maybe you will look at this in a different way and look at yourself not just as that day-to-day manager, but as a true leader who's going to impact the lives of the people that you work with. And ultimately, you'll see that when you begin to take that focus and turn it around a little bit and apply some of these principles. I think that you will find the responses from your staff will be remarkable. I love that a lot of you already do some of these great things for your staff. That is wonderful. And I hope that your staff appreciates it because it is really, really important to reward them, not just with gifts, but with just a simple thank you as well. I'm going to end here with a quote by the 6th president of our country. That was John Quincy Adams. And he said, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." I'm going to read that one more time. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. I hope that today you have taken just a break. I know your days are busy, but taken a break to think about your role as that leader where you're at. And maybe you haven't done some of these things for your staff, and this gave you a vision to think about stepping outside of that box and applying some of these principles to help your staff to become better, to help yourself become better, and make a more encouraging atmosphere for your employees and your staff. If you have any questions, we do have a little bit of time. I'm going to finish out with the last little details. If you have any questions, just type them in the chat box, and we'll answer them if we have a few minutes. Feel free to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and start giving you all the instructions at the end here. Like I said, there are additional resources on today's topic that you can access on the ITSN website. You'll find lots of other resources on our website as well. And feel free to take advantage of it, especially the ones that you could use at your staff meetings. Absolutely use those resources with your staff. Also, if you go to the Infant Toddler Specialist Network website and click on the Professional Development tab, you're going to find links to different things like the TIPS calendar, which is a place where you can access the Virginia Department of Social Services website, and it lists the early childhood professional development opportunities in Virginia and Washington, D.C. We put all of our trainings that we do across the state on there, and we also put our 1, 2, 3 Read trainings on there, our CEFL trainings, and our Celebrating Babies and Tots annual workshop that we do as well. They're all listed on the TIPS calendar as well as our website. So take a look and go find, if you have never done the 1, 2, 3 Read training, please go to our website. There's plenty coming up in the spring, and we'd love to see you at one of those. Also, we have several CEFL trainings, which is social emotional, and we'd love to see you at one of those. And then coming up in the spring as well, across the state, we'll be doing our Celebrating Babies and Tots annual workshop. And this year, our focus will be on brain development. So we'd love to see you across the state at those different trainings. So again, just go to that tab and click on them to get more information about those trainings. The training today was brought to you by the Virginia Infant Toddler Specialist Network, and we would like to thank you for participating with us, and we're very happy that you joined us today. Don't forget that if you want to get a certificate for participating today, you must fill out the evaluation. There was a link for that in the email that you received. You must fill that out and return it, and as soon as you have returned it, they will send you back the certificate from Child Development Resources. And if you did not find one, you can contact CDR, and they will make sure that you have that. But also there's a link on the website as well where you can find that. Coming up in December, on the 6th, there is going to be another webinar. Sensory Storytime for Infants and Toddlers will be held December 6th from 7 to 8 p.m. So check out our website to look for that information, and I believe that information will go out in about a week. It'll be emailed out, so you can register for that webinar as well. But be sure to check the TIPS calendar for all those local and statewide trainings. And was there any questions that anyone had? Someone said, do you pay your staff to attend after-hour staff meetings? And I believe that staff meetings are required by state licensing. I think you do have to have them. Are my other ITSs, are you still on here with me?
We're here.
Okay, do you know, are they required? Lisa, you were a director.
Oh, yes, they are required.
once a month, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so yes, the state does expect you to do one once a month. Are there any other questions? Did you ladies see any that you want to address?
Lisa, Becky, this is Lisa Klein. Someone wanted you to repeat the quote that you gave at the end.
All right, the John Quincy Adams quote. Let me see. Let me find my notes here. All right, John Quincy Adams, he said, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. I think he probably was a pretty smart man.
I think so.
And I love it. People are still telling me the cool things that they do for their staff.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Arlena, she baked their favorite dessert for their birthday. That's really nice. Good job, Arlena. All right, ladies, did you have anything else that you want to address on there? Any other questions you saw?
I just want to thank everybody for attending and know that we appreciate you all very much, too. You are the workforce behind us, and your work is so very important to the children that you care for. So thank you.
I second that. Thank you so much for joining us and for all the work that you do every day. We certainly know it is not easy, but it is very, very much appreciated.
All right, so make sure, some people are asking about the evaluation. The email that you received when you registered, there is a link to the evaluation on your email, but you can also go to our website and find it there as well. and you will need to submit that to Child Development Resources to get credit, and they'll send you that certificate. All right, so if there's no further questions, I'm going to thank all of you for joining us on behalf of the Virginia Infant Toddler Specialist Network and my co-presenters, Lisa Green and Leslie Ward. We thank you for joining us today and hope to have you join us for our next webinar coming up in December. So thank you all for joining us, and this ends the conference.
Thank you.